Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Thanks so much for joining. It's good to be back. So I'm just cleaning my glasses. It has been a crazy time for me lately. I've had about 2 weeks, about 3 weeks almost now, solid of working nights and weekends. Just crazy. When you're doing your own small business, you just don't know when the work's going to come, and when it all comes, you just say yes and you jump into it, and oh man, it's been brutal. So I am exhausted. Ketosaurus. Man, I know you're here every time asking for the Enterprise. It wasn't what I was planning on doing today. It's only because I'd forgotten that if you'd be here today, you'd ask me to do it. But that would be a long live stream. I'd need to prep a bit for that one. We will do it. We will do it eventually. Maybe not today, but we will do it. We'll get to it. I got a plan for it. Hey, Drake, welcome. 4K. It's good to have you while we've got you. Feeding time at the zoo. Hi, Quaxed. Quaxed. Yeah, that's right. Hi, welcome. Good to have everybody. Thanks for joining today. We're gonna have some fun. Now I've got some suggestions. I'm just gonna I'm gonna give it a little bit of time just here at the start. Let everybody roll in because people get notifications slowly, and people pop in. But while we're waiting on everyone to show up, open to suggestions. So noted, Eudosaurus Enterprise. Okay. Anybody else? Feel free to throw in some suggestions of what you'd like to see today. We're going to do a tutorial. We're going to come up with something. I have 2 ideas, and you can tell me in chat which one you like the sound of if you want to do one of those 2. So one of them I thought it would be fun to do would be to talk about this commercial that I just did. So I just directed a commercial. We had a robot on set, so we had some live footage of a robot, and I could talk about how we could track the face of the robot and create a little animated face for it. So that's a bit of like a compositing tracking tutorial kind of thing with a little bit of animation. Could be fun. Sorry, get all my burps out. It's disgusting. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I'll just show you real quick. Let's see. Let me just switch that view there. Close that panel there. Yeah, it should be fine. So what I'm talking about is this. I was directing this commercial. We had this little robot on set, and the idea was we needed to put a face on the robot. So this was the face that I ended up with. So and it tracks with the guy as he drives through all the. This one's off for some reason. The final one it worked. Anyways, so that could be something we could talk about. The other idea would be I was thinking it'd be really fun to take our the little robot that we made the other day. The little robot guy. Where is he? I'll pull him up. Random. Let's see. Droid render. This guy. I thought it'd be fun if we took this guy and did a little rig for him, so we could talk about rigging. It's a pretty simple construction, a simple setup for this guy. So it might be a good opportunity to talk about how to make a rig, something we haven't really talked much about. So there's some ideas. So throw in chat if you're keen on any of those. So we could either do the rig, we could do the robot face, the tracking shot, or we could do something else. If you keep something else, so I'll just give it maybe another 5 minutes, just as people roll in, and people can put in chat what you're keen to see, and we will take it from there. In the meantime, I hope all you are doing very well. Good to see you, Groby. Thanks for popping in today. Nice to have you. Everybody catch the latest Sci-Fi Blitz? That was a good time. We did a bit of Blade Runner. I love a good Blade Runner shot. Yeah, cool. 4K wants the rigging. Groby wants rigging. Eudosaurus wants the robot. Wait, which robot though? I should clarify because they're both robots. So rigging. Okay, Drake, rigging. I think everybody's going to want the rigging because everyone's made this little model. I've seen a lot on like Instagram and stuff. People have been putting together their little version of the guy. Looks pretty great. Everyone's got some cool variations. In the Discord, I've seen quite a few fun ones. All right, we'll do the rigging, I think. If you guys are all keen. Be fun to do like a continuation of that robot. Yeah, rigging robot. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's unanimous then. Everyone wants to do the rigging robot. Cool beans. Let's do it. All right. So let me go ahead and I'll just close Premiere and I will start recording. And there we go. That's all good. All right, let me open him up for us. Droids. Here they are. All right, let's get started. Do my intro. Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be rigging our little droid robot. Let's get started. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to take the little droid that we made a couple episodes ago, and we're going to create a little rig for him so we can animate it. I thought this would be a really great example of some really simple, basic, straightforward rigging that you can use in all of your projects. Because we got some nice sort of, bipedal leg thing going on. We've got some inverse kinematics we can do. Got this little foot piece that's a little bit extra. There's a couple of interesting little challenges. And so we're just going to create a rig from the ground up for this guy and talk about how we do that in the process. All right. So let's get started. Welcome, chat. Hey, Rathalos. Ooh. That's how we decided to say it, right? Ooh. So Rathalos is talking about it in the Discord. I've been everyone's been making fun of me because there's been quite a few little chat things that I haven't understood, and UWU is one of them the other day. I had no idea what it was. And anyways, everyone was kind enough to explain. So great to see so many channel members in chat today. If you want to join the channel, you can just hit that join button, and it gives you access to a lot of really fun emoji and other stuff. And then we got the higher level, which gives you the access to the unreleased videos, uncut live streams, all the extra content, extra tutorials, unreleased tutorials, stuff that just go on Patreon. So you can get those there too. So check it out. Yeah. LMAO was the other one that I had no idea what that meant, and that was really funny. Anyways, good to see you. Hello. Connor Star, LP, welcome. Good to have you. Connor. Nice to see everybody today. So those of you just joining, we're going to be rigging up our little bot and making him into a little bit of a rig. All right, let's get started. All right, here we go. Man, it's good to be back. Missed you guys. Hey, Dreer, welcome. Good to have you. Okay, so in order to do a rig, the first thing we want to do is actually kind of just clean up what we're looking at. So right now we've got our little scene that we set up, and we've got them sort of posed, and we got this guy in the distance. It's a bit messy. We need to get a really clean, simple look at what our robot is and what we need to do. Okay, so we're going to create a new project out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and file save as, and then we're just going to delete a bunch of stuff out of this thing. So I'm going to underscore this called droids rig. Whenever I'm doing a project, I like to have naming conventions like this. I'll do my model in one project file. So my droids model, and then I might save as a new file and call it, droids underscore rig, and do my rig that way, or droids underscore textured. And so I kind of break it up into stages. It's a helpful way of just kind of compartmentalizing each stage into different project files as you go. All right, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and we'll just isolate this guy right here. So I'll just box select. Actually, I'll turn on my handles and stuff so we can actually see. I'll box select all these cats, delete them, so we just have our little robot. Now, I don't think we zeroed out any of our rotation stuff because we weren't setting this guy up for animation. So if I zero out, what's it gonna do? Yeah, that's all right. We gotta figure out how we parented things. We might unparent everything. All right, let's see. We'll start off. We'll just zero out all of our rotations, just to kind of see where we're at, and our locations as well. There's a quick way of doing this. Anybody know in chat? What's the way when you click something and it's Alt S or something, right? I don't want to apply it. I just want to zero it all out. Or is that a plug-in only? So, thanks, Dreer. Thanks for the happy 6K. Appreciate it. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, it's really awesome. I saw today that Curtis Holt posted a video saying it's his second year on YouTube. Happy birthday, Curtis Holt. That's pretty exciting. Made it for 2 years. That's awesome. It's tough to do. Yeah. So see if I rotate that, it's off. So we've got pieces everywhere. It's just chaos, but that's all right. We're going to clean it up. We're just going to zero out everything, even if it even it sort of messes us up a little bit. This thing, we zero that. There we go. 0, 0, 0. It's going to break our robot, but that's all right. I'm doing this for a reason. Actually, this is dumb. Why am I doing this? I shouldn't. Well, because really, to get this rig to work right, we really do need to get everything to be nice and straight. So what does this parent do? Droid head. It's got no rotation on it. Yeah, so this has just got some wonky rotation, like baked into the geometry, right? No. Yeah. Weird. Let's see. How's everybody doing? Just Alt? Oh, Alt R, Alt S. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Akrobi. Wow, 4K monitor athletics. I haven't even done that yet. I'd love to. Actually, I need to upgrade my system. Just PSA, don't buy a Razer laptop ever. I've had more trouble with mine. My battery swelled the other day and almost exploded on me. Terrifying stuff. Why do I feel like this is a bad idea? Bad idea, but good lesson, I think. Anyways, yeah, I need to upgrade because all of my when I stream and stuff, I lose frames. Just my GPU just can't handle it all. That's right. Alt, was it? That's hard to hit. Alt L. I didn't do it. Oh, okay. So, what does that do? Alt L didn't work. Maybe it's a thing. Select change value to 0, then click Alt left mouse. Select all, change value to 0. No, it's not working for me. 0 these out. And let's also select all and Alt P clear parent. That'll probably help as well. And now they're all going to have different rotations and stuff, aren't they? Go. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this is a bad idea. Don't want to do all that. Droid head. Sorry, guys. I'm just thinking through this in my head. What's the best way to teach it? Because I want to make a point about all this stuff, but it's probably not helping us. So I'm going to re-rotate everything. Let me just, I'm going to go back to where we were, Droid rig. I'm going to reselect all these things, delete them again. Behind the scenes, guys. This is what this is a privilege. You're getting to watch behind the scenes. Remember. Yeah, I know laptops are lame compared to PCs, but I just wanted that mobility, you know, being able to go in the city, just bring my laptop and plug into monitors. I mean, in some ways, it's been a really great laptop because it's super fast and it works great, but works great in quotes. It's been, I don't know. Anyways, all right, let's try this again. I'll try explaining this really well. Okay, so I've got my droid now clean in this scene, nothing else going on. There's a couple of problems. We've kind of created a pose, and we built him without really thinking about having him, you know, to be animated or have a rig or anything. So there's a few things that are a bit off that we need to correct to start with. Now yours might look different depending on what you've done, but mine, since I've got it in this pose, I need to fix these problems. The main thing is I need to kind of get him into a neutral pose. So I need to kind of zero him out right into the center of my scene, and I need to get everything kind of level and straight perfectly to whatever sort of his standing pose is going to be. Okay, so let's do that. I'll start with this main droid head, because this one I know we've got some rotations and stuff on. And I'll just first off, I'll rotate on the Y. I'll zero that out so he's nice and level. Okay. And then on the Z as well, I think I'll zero him out. So he's looking straight down the Y plane. And he's got a little bit of X rotation. So let's clear that out too. So now he's nice and straight. He's also right at the 0, 0, 0 position, which is perfect. That's just where I want him. Okay, now we need to fix some of this stuff. So we've got, let's see, we've got, oh, this is interesting. We've actually baked into our geometry this, this square thing is actually kind of rotated in the wrong way. But that's all right. It won't be that big of a deal. Next, I need to look at these guys. So if I zero out the rotation on this, you can see that it's actually going to go way off and not really look good. So this one we're going to, I guess, do by eye. So let's grab, see, are we using that mirror modifier still? No, we baked that out. Okay. I'm going to shift select both of these guys, and I'm going to rotate Z, and I'm going to bring them around. I'm actually going to go into my top view by hitting 7 on my number keypad. And I'm also going to go into wireframe view so I can see everything. And I'm going to grab these legs and I'm just going to bring them around. Now I'm just doing this by eye, which, you know, if you wanted it to be perfect, that's doing it by eye is not the way to achieve that. But actually, I might be able to just get away with zeroing. Yeah, I will. Okay, it's fine. I was thinking our oh no. So not on the Z. I'll just check these guys individually real quick. So zero this out, zero this out. Yeah, I don't want to zero the Z. I want to keep them down like that. All right, so now these bits are fairly straight. Okay, now our legs are a bit crazy. I'm actually going to just pick one of these legs to work with. And I think one of them, this is the one we want, because this is the one that actually has the detail on both sides of the legs. Because you remember last time I only did detail on one side and I left this side blank. You see this other guy over here? So I'm just going to delete this leg system here just to simplify things a bit for us so that we are really just working with the geometry that we want. So I'll switch this guy to local. Looks like I need to just bring him over just a little bit. Maybe even scale him up on the Z. Yeah, that's what we really need to do. I'm just going to switch to my scale handle and I'm just going to scale him up a touch. Because the origin's offset like this, it's going to kind of scale away from the origin. Grab move, I'll bring him right back just so that he's nice and center. And that's just tidied up a little bit. All right, now let's get this leg set up. Now I'm pretty sure we've parented everything. No, we haven't. Okay. We can go ahead and just parent everything to this top leg just to simplify the process a little bit for us. So I'll control P. So I just shift selected everything, making sure that the last piece I shift selected is going to be what I want everything to be parented to. So I'm going to parent that to the object. So control P and keep transform. That will keep everything exactly as it is. All right. And now this one, let's figure out, go back to global. That's going to help me visualize a bit better. Let's figure out where we're at. So, all right. So if I zero this out, all right. So this one actually has some serious problems in terms of its rotation. It might be because of how it's parented. So let's clear the parenting, because sometimes when things are parented that you get weird rotation. So it's zeroed out, but it's also being influenced by the rotation of this the head of the robot. So I'm going to click on, let's see, Alt P to clear parent. And there we go. You see it pops back now into what 000 actually should look like. All right. Now, let's get him lined up. So I'm going to just position this here. I'll just go into my side view. It's important when you're getting something set up for animation just to make sure that you're looking at it in orthographic mode. So keep using, you know, these up here. If you don't have a number keypad on your keyboard, you can just click on these to just jump to those different orthographic views. Again, orthographic means there's no perspective, so it's just you're looking at it straight, nice and flat. So that's good. All right, let's take a look at the legs. So all of this stuff. So let's see what happens when we zero out the rotation here. All right, again, it gets a bit weird, but that's because of the parenting. So I'm going to hit Alt P and I'm going to clear parent, and that is looking all right. Let's also zero out the location. Yeah, that moved it in the right spot. Just making sure they match on the X. That'll help me line these up. Again, all these numbers might be a little different for you, but depending on how you built your robot, you may have built yours and kept it all really clean. unlike me, but all right. So I think just pull that like this. Although this leg's supposed to be a bit shorter, so I think I'll just shorten the geometry up on this. So I'm just going to go into transparent mode, look at it from the side, and I will let's see, switch to vertex mode, and I'm going to box select all these, scale on the Z just to kind of crunch them down, and then grab the Z and bring them right down, just to kind of shorten up that leg there. So that way when it rotates, we don't have bits sticking out. Okay, now let's see. Next up, we need to get this foot in place. So let's go ahead and zero out the rotation of this foot, and let's Alt P to clear the parent. There we go. And we can also zero out the X and the Y. And I don't want to zero out the Z because I want to keep that where it is. I might move it back just a little bit, just thinking about where it should be. And then I'll bring this right over so it's in the correct spot. I'll look at it straight on. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, perfect. And now we need to bring this toe in. I can Alt P to clear the parent again and zero out the rotation. And then let's go ahead and zero out the X, the Y, keep the Z, and I'll look at this thing from the side. And I'll just grab it up so that it's in line there, bring it forward so that it's in the right spot here. There we go. Pretty good. All right. Now we've got everything just where we want it. Might bring this one out a little bit so we don't have so much intersection. Oh no, the intersection kind of looks good. Well, maybe I'll come here, go to transparent mode, and I will box select all these vertices and just bring them out a little bit. Okay, making progress. All right, so now it's really clean. My setup is quite clean and stuff, but now I need to think about like, how am I gonna actually have this guy posed, right? So if you remember, we had our leg kind of had this inverted angle to it. And so the rest pose for our robot should probably have that inverted angle as well. But before we go too far with that, I want to go ahead and get my origins all set up so that things are actually in the right spot for each object. And that will help me be able to make sense of it as I position things and get stuff set up. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'll do first is I'll take my head, and I want to start making sure the origins are in the right spot, and I also want to begin applying the location, the rotation, and the scale wherever I've got values that are different to 1. So when I click on the main body part of my head here, you can see that I've got a scale of 0.863, right? And I want that to be 1. It's really important when you have a rig that you build it exactly the way you want it, and then you set everything to to not have any scale alterations to it, because you can get really weird results, because Blender's trying to understand that you've like basically taken an object and then you've scaled it. And so it tries to apply that scale transform to things like the rig that you've made or other stuff. It can cause a lot of issues. So it's really important to apply things when you've got them set. So with this guy selected, if I hit F3, you can type in apply. And we want to go apply right here. So all transforms is what you want. So we want to apply all transforms. So if I click this, you get this little menu that appears here. We just open this up, and we can have specifically which ones we want to apply. Location, rotation, scale. We don't really need to have location, rotation tick because they're already at 0. But you can see here scale is turned to 1. If I untick this, that'll go back to 0.863. If I tick it there, it's back to 1. Properties as well, it doesn't really matter too much, but we'll just keep all that for right now. And it's done as soon as you've got this, even though this is live and you're taking it, it's already happened. So if you just click away, that option menu goes away, you can't get it back, and it's set now. This is set to scale of 1. Now I'm not going to worry about these so much, the lenses and the balls. You can see they're in all kinds of weird things, but mostly because these I'm never really going to move much. They're just going to stay parented to this, so wherever this goes, they'll go, and that's fine. I'm not really worried about them for my rig. We might want to do some kind of telescopic thing for this, like, kind of thing, but we'll see how we go. Say hi to chat real quick, everybody. Let's see. Oh, hey, Lanfair, welcome. Good to have you. Yeah, time change. You guys have time changed in the States. I know that because Sci-Fi Blitz is now 1 hour later for me. Bastian, welcome. Good to have you. Thanks for joining. Sepflo! How you doing, Sepflo? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, man? All right, so let's keep going. How are we doing on our record time? 25, that's not bad. All right. Now I'm going to kind of go through each of my parts and do the same thing. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go, all right, I like this. I'm going to hit, what was it? I forget the hotkey. Control A. So Control A is the hotkey. So Control A, and you get this actual menu. You can decide what you want. So I can do all transforms just like we had before. Now what that's going to do is it's going to also stick our origin in the wrong spot. It's going to move the origin to 0, 0, 0 because it's zeroing out the location. Which I don't really want to do that, do I? So I'm going to turn the location off for that. I'm just zeroing out the scale. Scale is really the main thing we're doing right now. So come to here and we'll go Alt A. Nope, sorry. What was it? Why do I keep forgetting it? Control A. Control A, and I'll do my scale for that one. Here, Control A, scale. Control A, scale. Control A, scale. Control A, scale. All right. So now all my scales are set. Next thing is I want to kind of set my origins correctly. So I'm going to just make sure everything's just where I want it. And then I want to move my origin right to the center of my geometry with these guys. So I'm going to select the guy here and I'm going to go, do we have to do this in edit mode? No. Object, no, it's not in edit mode. So you make sure you're in object mode and select the object you want to move the origin for. And we're going to go object, set origin, origin to geometry. A lot of options here. Origin geometry just kind of takes the average position of all your geometry and puts the origin. Now, why is that important? Origins are just basically what's the pivot point for your object. So if I was going to rotate this object when it was over here, it would rotate around that point. So it would rotate like around that whole point. Putting it here means it's going to just stay in this spot and rotate around this point. You can do some really clever stuff with that and make some really interesting things. But anyways, that's just really, really helpful to know. Now for this one, I don't necessarily want the origin to be right here. It's good to kind of have it up here if we were doing some kind of rig thing, but we're going to use bones to do our rig, so it doesn't really matter so much. So I'm just going to set all these guys to have their geometry to the origin to the geometry. So origin to geometry, object, set origin to geometry. That one's fine. That one's fine. This one is good. This one's good. Those don't matter. Awesome. All right. All right. Next thing I want to do is get our sort of basic set position set up. So I'll take this, and we've got him. They have backward legs, don't they? So I'm going to pull this back a bit, and I will rotate this guy on the X like this. And I know this kind of messes up a lot of what we just did, but bear with me. That. Because I want to have this like kind of be the standard pose for the guy. I do feel like we do need to have the geometry extended a little bit. So I'll switch back to local and I'll grab this up on the Z, just pull this back in. And I might extend the bottom as well. Let's go here, 3. Right here, I'm going to box select. Oops, wait, double tap, make sure that's all deselected. I'm going to B to box select and just box select these guys. Again, I'm in transparent mode, right? X-ray mode, sorry. X-ray mode is really important because it means I can select all the points that are behind. If I didn't have this on and I was in this mode, well, first of all, I couldn't see anything, but also if I box selected, it would only box select what's visible. So because that's the only one that's visible, it wouldn't select those. So that's just really important. What's going on with that? That's a bit weird. I guess it's like that on both sides. What happens if we grab these guys and pull them down? Does that do anything? Yeah, I think that was an artifact from before, something that we just messed up. All right, so we'll just pull this in a little bit more so it intersects a bit better for us. Okay, I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty good. It's a nice pose. So, okay, we've got our basic sort of default pose set up now for our robot. We only have one leg still, but that's all right. And now we're going to create the bone system for it. Actually, first I'll duplicate this leg. I'll go ahead and Shift D to duplicate, and I'll grab him. Look at the front view, grab X, and just kind of bring him over. So it's roughly in the same spot. There we go. That looks good. All right. How's everybody doing? Oh, sorry, Sepflo. Yeah, you're always trying to go to sleep. I'm always waking you up with these streams. It's brutal. 1 a.m. for you, Bastion. It's true. Oh, yeah, cool. Right click. Nice. Oh, that's easier. Thanks, Groby. Okay. Now that we've got our robot set up in this basic pose, we got both legs in place. Let's start talking about bones. Now, bones are really handy. They're great for doing all kinds of stuff. Basically, what you want to do when you're thinking about bones is it's an object that doesn't render. It's just a constraint object, basically. So it's a bone is it's something that, like parenting, really. It's an object that you can parent things to, and you apply animation to that bone, and it takes whatever object you've applied to it along with it for the ride. So you can create really complex things with bones because Blender knows that bones are there just for animation, and they're all about how they interact with each other, you know? And so it's able to just focus in on giving you really cool behaviors, and then it just associates that motion and those behaviors with the objects that are parented to them, so, or children of them. So the other cool thing about bones is that they can deform geometry, and it's the only way you can get really nice, clean deformation. So if we had like a bendy kind of robot with like fleshy legs that we wanted to kind of bend stuff, bones can create those deformations. Now in our case, we've got this rigid bone structure that we're going to go for because we don't need to have deformations with our robot. But we do want to have inverse kinematics because we've got this kind of leg setup. Now, what is inverse kinematics? Inverse kinematics are basically, the basic concept is a humanoid walking. So when a human is walking and their legs, their foot comes off the ground and their legs kind of move forward, and the way that inverse motion, right, of the legs moving like this. So when this foot comes up, we expect this joint to kind of pull back and for this whole thing to kind of do this, right? That's our expectation, right? But that's actually kind of complex. What's happening there? It's inverse kinematics. So Blender's got that built in, so it can do those calculations to figure out those rotations for you. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to switch into my side view, and I'm going to come over to here, and I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to create an armature. And now when you create an armature, you can see that it gets this little like man figure character. It says armature, and we've got this bone just floating in space. What I'll do is I'll line them up. So I'm going to grab this guy and just come over here, and we'll start up here. All right. And actually I'll put this one right in the center. This will be kind of like our main robot bone. I'll scale it up a little bit, and I'll switch to transparent mode so we can really see these guys. All right, so this bone's going to be sort of our master bone, our, the big controller. We grab this one, and we're going to be able to move the head, right? So I don't have to worry about anything else. I'm just kind of setting up the basic, thinking in my head how I want to animate him and what kind of control I want. And I know I want to be able to grab something, grab this head, and like move it around. And I want the feet to stay on the ground, and I want the legs to move and everything to feel right. So this is going to be my controller for that. And it's not linked to anything. It's not doing anything yet. It's just a bone. So let's keep going. All right, so the next one I want is I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to create another bone. So I can just, with this guy selected, I can go into edit mode actually, and I can hit Shift D to duplicate. So now this is another important point. You can see it starts listing my bones here. I've got bone and then bones.001, but they live within the armature. And if I exit edit mode, there's still one object. So you want to be adding bones in edit mode. Think of it like geometry, right? It's not geometry, but think of it that way. So we go into edit mode and we can duplicate bones and move them around and set them up. So let's get this going. Let's go to our front mode. I'm going to grab this bottom bit. Oh, that's the other thing that's important to note. So bones have a head and a tail. So you can grab these guys and move them independently of each other. It changes the size of the bone, but the size is just a visual representation for you. It's not doing anything in Blender internally. So I'm going to line this up right here, switch to my transparent view so I can see it. And I'll just kind of put that ball right there, and I'll grab this one. And this one's going to be right here, sort of in this point. And then I'll make sure that the head and tail have the same X and Y position. But if you notice, if I click on them, I'm not getting any information over here on my transform properties. That's because bones have a separate section for their transforms, and it's in the little drop-down menu here. So if you go to item, you can see it lists head and tail, and then radius, roll, length, and envelope. So those are a lot of the extra controls you get. But now you can see as I move this thing around, all those things are changing. The length is the length of the bone, right? And then you've got the position. The roll is kind of like how it twists, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. And let's see. I'm just going to position this guy up, make sure they're in the same spot. So this one, the head is at, on the X, it's this number. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that in the tail. That's just going to make sure this is nice and straight. And the Y, they're in the same Y, and the Z doesn't really matter. I'm going to switch to my side view here, and I'm going to line this guy up on the Y, bring him forward just right into the middle. Bring him up a little bit on the Z so he's like legitimately in the middle there. I'll grab this one, move him back, and just kind of get this position right. I didn't need to actually paste that in there because, oh no, I did, yeah, because I was doing the X. All right, sweet. So now we've got this guy right in the middle. So this bone is going to control this part of our leg. Now I'm going to have this part of the leg controlled. I want these guys to be connected. Okay, so I'm going to just select this tail bit here, and I'm going to hit E to extrude. Now, again, I'm not using geometry, right? But the same principle still applies. So E, right? Now I can grab, and I've created a new bone, and it's automatically connected. But this is a little confusing, right? We've just done E, right? Usually when you extrude geometry, you have a face and you hit E and it expands the geometry. It adds in new faces, and those guys are inherently connected. But that's not what's happening with bones. It's using extrude just for like ease of use. But what's really happened here is if I come over into my menu, you can see bone 2 is here. It's actually created just another bone and automatically parented it to bone 1. So these guys are actually separate. They're separate. So, I mean, it looks like they're connected, but they're connected in the sense that they're parented to each other. I could unparent this bone. So I could go Alt-P, clear parent, and now it's separate, right? I didn't like break geometry or anything. It's just, they're just parented. So think about it, bones in terms of hierarchies. They're always going to be parented to each other or not parented to anything. And that's as simple as it gets. So, you know, if I wanted to reparent this guy, I could, you know, shift click and Control P to parent. And it's going to ask me, do you want it connected or keep an offset? I could connect it, and it's automatically going to pop it back in so that the tail is connected to the head, right? So, yeah, kind of cool. All right, let's jump back into here. And I'm going to get one more. I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'll grab this one on the Y and just bring it out. And I want this to kind of just be this. Actually, what we'll do for this one, let me think about this. We'll do one like this, and then I'll hit E, and we'll do one more for the front part of the toe. And I'm not going to line it up so it's perfectly in line with the foot because it doesn't really matter so much. But I might I'll bring this one down. I think that makes sense. All right. Now, I'm not really thinking about anything other than how well does it line up? Does it line up pretty good? It's probably a deceptive way of saying I'm not even how well does it line up, because if I was trying to line up perfectly, I'd probably put this, my instinct would be to put this back here, right? The heel, you know, and do something like this because that lines up, that fills the space. Now I've got this off, and it's like, well, it's not about filling the space because you can parent an entire object to this. And you can also, even if we were doing deformations, we could, you know, say, all right, we want all these vertices to be controlled by this bone. And so it doesn't really matter if it's like over here or over here. You can still tell it to be parented however you want. So it's more about right now thinking about how is that IK motion going to work. But you haven't learned about how to do that yet because we haven't talked about it. So don't sweat it. We'll cover it. All right. So now a couple of things that are interesting to note about our rig so far is that this bone and these bone are not connected. So they're just side by side in the hierarchy. So there's no parenting going on yet for that. Yeah, we've got this leg set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to set up my IK. And just thinking what's going to be the easiest way to teach this. If we should probably parent it first, then we can see it moving around and then it'll make sense to you. So let's do that. All right. Now, this is a tricky bit. I need to decide how to do this. I could, yeah, that's true. I can just select all these guys and then do I want to automatic weight or not? Sorry, just thinking. Say hi to chat while I'm thinking. Hey, James, welcome. Good to have you. Do I have any coffee left? No. Oh, so sad. How are we going? 41 minutes. All right. To wrap it up soon. Hopefully we'll finish this. We'll finish it. I'm just thinking in my head about how to do it. Because I don't want to do automatic weights because I don't have to worry about weight painting everything. I'm just trying to think, is there a simple, easy way? Like if I grab the foot and I parent that armature with envelope weights, automatic weights. What does envelope weights do? I don't remember. Let me just check. Where's my weight paint? All right, so that's not what I wanted. Let's undo that. So let's try. So I'll just do empty groups, I guess. Can I just parent it to the bone? Does that work? So if I then go to pose mode, no, didn't think so. All right, let's undo that. And so then if we just go empty groups, and then which bone is this? This is bone. Sorry, I'll catch you up in a second, guys. I'm just thinking through this in my head before I teach it. Bone 3. So then if I come over here to object mode, weight paint, and there's the there it is. It puts them all in there. That's right. So bone 3. Was it the bone? Bone 3. It's just where is it? Tool. Just trying to remember where it lives. Symmetry. Advanced stroke. It's not in edit mode, is it? I do like a rig like once every like 4 months, maybe 5 months at the most. Every time I go in to do it, I'm like, okay, how do I do it again? I'm just trying to remember real quick what where the menu is for when you want to see what weights are set. It's in edit mode here. Options, nope. View, focal length, no, that's just the thing. So it's got to be an item. Medium edge, edge crease. It must be weight paint then. But set it. We just do it that way. It's probably the simplest. So now if I go into pose mode, select my rig, pose mode. It's gonna move that foot. I don't have to form anything. Yeah, we'll do that. I think that's probably the easiest way to teach it. All right, let's clear this parent. P, oops, pose mode, object mode, Alt P, clear parent, and let's delete all the thingamawhatsits. Cool. All right. Okay, guys, so here's how we do it. All right, so now we need to go through and assign geometry to the bones. Now, usually when you're creating a rig, you've got one solid piece of geometry, right? So we've got like a human, right? And we've modeled that human, and there's no breaks. It's not like individual pieces, you know what I mean? Like the arm connects directly into the torso, flows into the neck, and you've got the head. There's no individual pieces. So it's just one big piece of geometry. Now, we could do that, right? We could take this guy and we could join him. We could use join and join all these pieces together, and either they'll still be separate pieces of geometry, but they'll all be one object, and then we could just parent that to the rig. That would be the same kind of a thing, but you don't really need to do that. Because we've got a robot, we've got separate pieces, we've got separate materials. It's easier for us just to keep it all separate. So when you're joining an organic object that has flow and it's not individual pieces to a rig, you parent it to that rig, and you can use something called automatic weights, which basically takes every single bone and it goes, this bone's close to these vertices in your mesh. So I guess you probably only want to allow this bone to affect these vertices. So that way you have an arm, right? You've got bones in the arm. If you do automatic weights and you move those arm bones, they're not going to move the head too, or the legs as well, because they're not within the proximity of those bones, right? Those are just going to affect those bits. You go in and then refine them and stuff. It's a pretty advanced topic. We can talk more about it another time, but we're basically going to just say, all right, we want this one bone to affect this one piece, and that's it. So we're not going to do automatic weights because we don't want to have sort of like a gradual fade between all these, because I'll show you actually. This is a pretty good example. So if I take this, let's take the leg, right? Now, if I take the leg and then control click the armature up here in my outliner, or shift click it here in my view, and then do control P to parent, you're going to get this extra little option here, armature deform. And then it gives you these different options. You want to do empty groups, envelope weights, or automatic weights. These are kind of similar, but I'll show you automatic weights. So if I click this, right, now it's parented. So it's taken this piece of geometry, it's parented it to our armature. And it's also gone in and it's added in, if I just click on the cube, it's added into my properties right here, vertex groups. It's added in all these vertex groups, one for each bone. Now, we haven't named our bones, so it's a bit confusing. We should go in and name them. But so now we've got these bones here. And now if I come over to my weight paint view, this will show me, if I click through the bones, what weights it's assigned to each bone. So you can see that bone 2 it's going to control these bits, but not so much down here. Blue means not a lot of control. Total blue means it's not going to control it at all. So bone 4 is not doing anything for this leg. But bone 3 is doing a little bit, bone 2 is doing a little bit, bone 1. So all the bones are affecting it somewhat. So I don't really want this because, again, I don't want weird deformation. I don't want to like move the foot and have like part of the leg bend. I want to have this be purely controlled by just this bone. So I'm going to do it another way. So I'm going to Alt P to unparent. Actually, I would go back to object mode, Alt P, clear parent, and I'll delete these vertex groups just for cleanliness. And we'll go ahead and name our bones too. So we've got some good, so it makes sense when we see stuff. So I'm just going to come in here. When you enter edit mode in a bone and you select a bone, you get this extra little tab here. And we can come down here and we can name stuff. So I can name this, instead of bone 3, I can call this foot. And this is the, let's see, if I'm facing my robot, it's the right side. So I'm going to go foot.r, I guess, just for simplicity. And this is going to be my toe.r. So my right toe. And capital R. Come on, let's keep the naming conventions unified. And then I've got my so legs. So this will be the what is this, foreleg, I guess. Or let's see, I'll just leg leg 2.r. leg 1.r. And then this is going to be our body. Cool. All right. We can go ahead and get these guys set up as well. There's a way of like copying over a rig and like all of its constraints over to the other side, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to talk about these concepts. And we'll probably just do one side, and then you guys can do the same on the other side on your own as practice, and then you'll have a rig. All right, so let's start. Now that we've named these things, let's start doing this. Now, of course, by naming that, all these guys over here are there's a quick way of doing this where like Blender can automatically like rename the left side for you and stuff. I don't remember. It's in there. Look it up. We're just doing the concepts today, basic concepts. All right, back to what we're doing. So let's go ahead and start parenting things up. So we'll start down at the bottom and work our way up, and then we'll do inverse kinematics, and then we'll call it quits. So I'll take this toe object and I'm going to parent this to the toe bone. But now if you notice, I select my toe, right? And then I control click or shift click on the armature. It's going to select the whole armature, right? But that's fine. That's what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click Control P, and I'm going to do empty groups. That means it's not going to assign any weights to any of the bones. It's just going to assign this object to this armature, set up my vertex groups for me, and then just leave them all blank. So we can actually do that with all of our geometry in one go. So instead of doing this one piece at a time, we can actually just select all of our pieces like this. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and name our, let's get our rig named correctly, because it's just gonna be annoying here. So left, 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 one more, left, woohoo! All right, so I'm going to select all my geometry, just like this, just like this. I'll just do the, yeah, I'll do the body as well. Oops, selected my armature. Deselect that. Ah, that's so annoying. One more time. Box select, box select, and then shift select. Okay, so I've got all my geometry selected. Don't have my armature selected. I'm going to shift click my armature last and then Control P, and I'm going to go with empty groups. All right, so now all of this geometry has been assigned to this armature with empty groups. So if I go over to weight paint mode, so let's just select one of these legs, select like the toe, and we'll go to weight paint, and I come over to here. You can see if I select, I scroll through all the different bones, nothing changes. It stays blue the whole time. All right, time to get things set up. So in weight paint mode, this is where you can paint the weight. So you can do this manually, and we could like paint in and say, okay, I want this toe bone just to affect this front bit. This is how you would go in and clean it up after you did automatic weights. But we don't need to worry about that. We're going to switch to this vertex mode, and this shows us all of our vertices. I'm going to hit A to select all. So now all the vertices are selected for this piece of geometry. I'm going to go to the, so say I've decided this is the right side, so we need to go toe right. There it is, and I can just click assign. He'll turn red. So now these guys are fully affected by that toe and nothing else. Okay, so now what I can do is I can back to object mode, select this guy, go into weight paint mode, make sure everything is selected, and I can go foot right and assign, and just work my way up the hierarchy one piece at a time. So let's do it. You guys having fun? Is this good? Bit more technical today. Weight paint, leg 2. Which one was my? I forgot how I named that. What was my lower leg? Toe. Oh, so 2 is the lower leg, right? Yeah. Okay. Hope this is fun. See you 4K. Thanks for joining. All right. What am I doing? Weight paint. And we're going to come to here. And so this is leg right 2. And I'll Go to this, double tap, select all, assign. Next object. Boom. I'm just going to do one leg, guys. I'm going to do both. So this one, all right, this is tricky. How do I want this to be affected? I want it to stick with, when this rotates, yeah, I think I'll have it stick with the bottom one. So this one's going to be fully affected by, oops. So weight paint, I'll give this one to leg right 2. Assign. Object mode, select this one, weight paint, and it's going to be leg 1 right. Select all, assign, and this one is going to be, what do I want this one to be? I think this will be stuck with that one, although if it goes off, it'd be kind of annoying. I might leave that one there and just do that one to this. Is that what I want? I think so. Yeah. All right, I'll assign this one to the body. So weight, body, vertexes, select all, assign. And then I'll go up to the main body as well. Actually, I won't worry about that. Just yeah, I will worry about it. Object mode, body, object, weight paint, select all, body, assign. There we go. Okay, so I've assigned my weights. I've just done one leg for now and the body. What I decided to do is this rotator bit, I decided to assign to this leg, so leg 2, right? So that wherever this goes, this stays with it. I thought that made sense. And for up here, for this one, I've actually decided to keep this one locked to this bone here, the main top body bone. So this guy and this guy and this guy will always stay together, whereas these will all rotate and move. And I think that will work really well. All right. Oh man, welcome Ben Escar. Thanks so much, mate, for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate it. Welcome. Good to have you. Be sure to spam those emotes. I'll show you how to do it. Just you colon and then C, B, and then you get the drop-down list, and then you can do all the really cool. These are fun. C, B. I think my favorite is the default cube. Anyways, thanks so much for joining the channel. All right, we got some cool exclusive stuff coming soon as well. I'm going to have some more channel member and Patreon member only tutorials soon, so keep an eye out for those. They're always going to be the same, so I keep doing channel memberships. If you're a member on YouTube or a member on Patreon, you're getting the same thing. Just want to make sure that's always nice and even down the line. 2 ways to engage. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so now that we've done that, let's just switch. Now, if you want to move your rig around and actually have stuff animated, you want to pop into pose mode. So we actually need to first select, if you have like your geometry selected and you go to here, you won't see pose mode in the drop down list. You have to have an armature selected. Okay, so I'm going to go to pose mode. We're going to see what's happening and just talk a bit about it. So if I was to grab this foot, you can see I can rotate, and it's going to rotate the foot correctly, but it's also going to rotate the toe. Why is that? Well, it's because this toe bone is parented to this bone. So that way these guys stay together. So I can rotate that. You can see how it's all kind of sticking together. So it's behaving exactly like it would if it was just parented to stuff. You see, I've got these guys, I can move them around. Now you'll notice that because we've parented this top section to the armature, but not these guys, it's actually lost that parenting relationship. So we need to reline that all back up. So let's go back into our object mode. And we can just select these guys right here. I'll just select all of this stuff and then shift select that to deselect. And then should be able to then just control click and parent and object and droid head. But then does that take it out of the armature? No. So you can see if I close my armature back in, everything is parented correctly. So even though these guys aren't rigged to any of the bones now, if I go to pose mode, they don't stay with it. Okay, so you do need to actually rig them with the hilarious. Okay. All right, so to get all that to work, we need to set these guys up to follow the same bone. Okay, so let's just grab everything here. Shift select all that. So we just have all these bits selected. And then we're going to control shift click the rig, control P, empty groups. And we want all these guys to be fully parented to this main one. So we should be able to just deselect our rig and then come to, what do I still have? So I'll shift select these guys again, deselect that with all of them selected. All right, why does it keep giving me? No, it's because I had that selected. Sorry, my phone's going off. I don't know where it is. I keep hearing it. Where's it hiding? Sorry about that. All right, so with these guys selected, I can come right over here to body. We can go into weight paint. That's annoying. Is it really gonna? Sorry. If I select these guys, go into weight paint. Am I gonna have to do this manually? Probably easier just to use a constraint. I don't know what the easiest thing to do is. Welcome, Midnight. Good to have you. Okay. Sorry. Should plan these out before. It's the beauty of doing this live. Doing it for 57 minutes. I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon. All right, in chat, what do you think? What's the easiest way to parent this to this so that it actually works? Do I want to? Can you select a bunch of objects like this? And I'm gonna assign all these guys to this bone. Is there a way of doing it? Like, can I copy? Let's see. Trusty F3. Copy constraints. Copy objects. Wait. Can I? How do you do this? Is there a way of copying? Like, if I'm gonna come over here, right? And if I go to weight mode, assign, select, deselect. There's another way of doing this, isn't there? Join them to the head. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. It'll keep. Yeah, that is the easy way. That's why I just wondered, what's the simplest, most straightforward way? It'll keep all the materials as well, even if we join them. So we may have to reassign the weight. So, anyways, all right, let's do it that way. Okay, so now we got this issue where these guys aren't following like this. So the easiest way to get that to follow the head without having to go through and rig every object to the bone is just to join all of these objects to our main mesh for the body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all this front object stuff. I'm going to deselect this guy, make sure I just have them selected. Yeah, we are going to select this guy. So right there, and I'm going to hit F3 and type join. And that will join all these into one piece of geometry, but it's also going to cause... Did it cause any issues? I don't think it did. that affect any of the groups? I don't think so. No, that all still looks all right. Yeah. All good. Now that we've joined these guys into this object, we need to make sure that all of their vertices are selected as well and parented to the bone. So if I go to pose mode again, so back to my armature, grab this guy and move him around, you can see that it's causing some issues. Actually, this isn't, why am I getting such bad? Oh, thanks, Merix. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. It's exciting to hit 6K. I'm going to undo that because the reason I'm undoing this is because we've got the subdivision surface modifier on this guy, but not these guys. And I want to keep it on this. It's running nice and smooth because we're not getting too much geometry. But when I joined all these together, it starts using subdivision surface on all of them. So I think what we'll have to do is just assign all these guys to this bone. That's fine. Let's not worry about it. Okay, so to get all these guys to follow along the body, we need to bring them into the rig and assign them to this bone. So let's do that. Let's just go one by one, each object. Actually, first we'll parent them to the bone. So I'll just select transparent view, select all these guys, shift select that, and then select this right there. Now, if you just box select it, see how it's like that bright orange color? I don't know if you saw that. So if I box like this, oh, it worked there. It's because it's the active object. If that's the active object, there we go. See how it's orange? It's not the active object. It doesn't quite work. You have to make sure it's that color of orange for this to work. So shift select it. Don't just box select it. So shift select the last one and then control P, and we're going to assign these guys with empty groups. And now we just need to go through each of these objects and go into weight mode and again assign them to the body. Just like so. Probably copy attributes. There's got to be a way of copying attributes like this over. If anyone knows in chat, let me know. Yeah, so we made this Star Wars droid, Merrick's, a couple episodes ago. So that's up on the channel. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out. We built this little Star Wars droid. Now we're rigging him today. So we're doing the rig so we can animate it. Weight paint, that's done. What's left? I got to do this one. Weight paint, all body assign, object, weight paint, boom, body assign, weight paint, assign. All right, did we get them all? Only one way to know. Let's go to the rig. Pose. Yep, they're all there. Sweet. All right. Control C. Copy attributes, add on. Oh, it's add on, copy attributes. Okay. That'll make it a lot easier. All right. Okay, so now we've parented up all of our geometry. We've weight painted all of our geometry correctly, or at least this side. Again, I haven't done this leg yet. We'll do this later. But now we want to talk about how do we make the inverse kinematics to work. Because right now you can see if I grab this foot in pose mode and I hit G to grab, first of all, it's not letting me grab. It's just only letting me rotate. If I grab this one, I can grab, it's the top of the hierarchy. But if I grab something that's down in a hierarchy, so it's been parented to a bunch of other bones, you can't grab, you can only rotate. And again, if I move this, it's not affecting any of these guys. It's like, all right, what's going on? So this is where we need to have inverse kinematics. So inverse kinematics will allow us to grab the foot and move it, and it will actually move all this stuff up and make all these things rotate. So it's a little complex, but we can do this, all right? First thing we're gonna do is go into edit mode for our rig, our armature. And we are gonna look at the side view, and I'm gonna create another bone. I'm just gonna save time by hitting Shift D to duplicate. And I've got this one here. Now I'm gonna make sure I clear the parent, so Alt P and clear parent, and that will disconnect this bone and put it right up. I'm gonna put this, call this foot, let's see, foot.r.control. There's no reason why I'm using dots, by the way. You could use anything, really. Just doing that for fun. And let's just make this guy kind of be the size of our foot here. All right. Might even bring it down just a little bit. It doesn't really matter too much. Okay, now, this is the part where I have to remember how to do this. Okay? Because every time I do this, I'm like, how do I do this again? We can do this. We've got this. It's all right. All right. Now, this is the one we grab. Oh yeah, we also need we need one other one. So let's see. I'll use this here. So the next thing we need to make is the it's basically it's a bone that tells the solver, the IK solver, where to point the joint. So you can see this joint, it's pointing, right? It's pointing off this way. So we need to give it something to always be pointing at, and that helps it do the math to figure out how to triangulate it. So I can take this little point here and I can hit E to extrude, grab this on the Y out like this. Actually, I'll have it this way so it's pointing towards. And I'm going to hit Alt P to clear the parent. And I will grab this on the Y and just bring it out here. So this will be the bone that our joint points at. Okay. Now, this one needs to be parented to which one? The master bone, I think. No, I want to keep that separate to the master bone. That's right. And this one I need to parent to this one. So, right. We also need to sort of complete the chain of our hierarchy. So I want to make this one connect to this one, but I'm going to hold off on that because I want to show it to you so it makes sense. Okay, so what we need to do for inverse kinematics to work, we need to select. So remember I wanted to grab the foot and move it up, and we couldn't do that. So I need to select this foot bone, and this is going to be the magic bone that allows us to do inverse kinematics. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a constraint, and I want to go for the, sorry, it's not add constraint. Isn't it? It's add constraint, right? Arranger action. Gosh, you see how long it's been since I've done this. Copy, scale, this, maintain. No, it's not. It's not a constraint. Am I in? I got to go to pose mode. That's right. I always forget that. All right, so super confusing. Gotcha. If you select your armature, right, and you're in edit mode or whatever, and you're thinking, all right, I'm going to be able to like set up my constraints and stuff for inverse kinematics, you're not going to find it in the options because you have to actually be in pose mode for this to work. You get this extra little button when you're in pose mode, bone constraint properties. I'm going to click that. I'm going to select my little foot bone here. So not the big one that we made, but this little extra one. I'll go right here and we're going to go inverse kinematics. Okay. Now, a couple things we need to do. The pole target, that's this. So the pole target is where we're going to be pointing to. So I'm going to select this as the pole target. The target is what's the thing that's going to control the motion of our inverse kinematics. It's going to be this bone that isn't parented to anything. It's on its own. It's really important. If this bone is parented to your foot bone, you're going to get weird things where it's going to be like spinning out of control and stuff. So I'll select my foot bone down here. Oh, actually, sorry. The first thing it does is it selects the armature, and then you want to select the actual bone. So this one, what do we actually end up calling this one? This is called foot R control. So I'm going to go foot R control. Now we need to talk about how long is the chain length. Right now it's set to 0, but this chain has actually got 1, I think 2. We only need to go 1. I always forget. So let's just check. So you can see when I switch to 1, 2, now it's pointing to this bit. I think that's all we need. If I grab this, I may have done something wrong. Yeah. Oh, pull target. I need to set. No, that's still, we have done something wrong. Leg 1R. So I'm going to go leg 1. This is, I should rename this to pole just because that's just going to get really confusing. So leg 1R pole. Back to our constraint. Leg 1R pole. All right. Now chain length. This is usually the bit where everything can get fixed. And rotation. Iterations, pole angle. Let me. If I put it on the wrong, I may have put it on the wrong one. Is it supposed to be this one and not this one? Oh man, Merrick's, good night. 1 a.m. Thanks for joining. So everybody, I knew this bit would be a bit bumpy because I can never quite remember how it's all supposed to be. I'm gonna try, is it this one? Inverse kinematics, target, boom, foot R control, pole target, boom, pole, boom, chain length, 1, 2, pole angle, 90. Doesn't really matter, I guess. It's zero this out. Yeah, that worked correctly. So yeah, I think it's this one. And how many chain links did I do on it? 2? Yeah, because 1 is only going to give me this kind of motion. 2 is going to give me this kind of motion. And so if it's on this one, inverse kinematics, target, bone, control, pole, 90, 1, 2, 3. What's the difference? Oh, okay, so it just gives me a little bit, but that's not really what I want because it'll be kind of annoying having to always have that. It's cool though. Hey, this stuff works. This is where the magic of rigs start to really kind of come alive. All right, I'll move this guy back into the position I had him in. All right, let's teach this. Here we go. Oh, a car chase in Blender. I saw a really cool tutorial about car chase in Blender, actually. Or maybe it was just a speed thing that somebody did. Yeah, we talked about doing a racing, like a pod racer kind of thing. Some of the ideas that everybody in the future series discussion planning team in the Patreon, the $10 tier and up, that group has been talking about. So that might be something on the list. Okay, let's finish this up. We've been going for a little while now. Oh yeah, hour and 20. I need to stop. I've got, geez, I gotta get back to work. All right, here we go. You guys are enjoying this. I'm having fun. But rigs are always just, they blow your mind. They're really, really hard to like think through. But okay, so let's finish this up. So in order to get the inverse kinematics to happen, we've built all the right bones. Now we need to select, not the foot bone, but we're going to select actually this leg bone. This is going to be, so think about it this way. If you want to be moving your foot, you want to have everything else kind of inverting you want to move one bone up the hierarchy, I guess. It's sometimes, to be honest, you have to just experiment. You got to put it on something, see how it looks, put it on something else, see if it looks better, and then make a decision. Over time, you kind of begin to instinctively go, this is kind of where it needs to go, but it takes some time. And this whole setup is really hard to remember. So don't feel bad if you got to come back and rewatch like 5 times. And every time you do a new rig, you got to look up another tutorial on how to do it. I look them up all the time because I always forget what's the order of bones for inverse kinematics. But anyways, we've got all the things we set up. We've got our controller, which isn't parented to anything. We've got our pole, which also isn't parented to anything. And we've got everything else, which is parented correctly. So I'm going to click this leg here, making sure I'm in pose mode, because that gives me this extra tab here. And I'm going to add the constraint inverse kinematics. Now I'm going to select the target. So first we just click on the armature for the target. And now I need to get the actual bone. So my target is going to be this controller bone that we've made here. So I can just type in control and foot control. Now things will start to move, but don't panic. Nothing's broken. Pole target, same thing, select the armature. And now I'm going to grab the bone here that's called pole. I've named it pole there. And again, it's looking really weird, but don't worry. Now, we need to increase the number of chain links for this. So this is basically how many bones are in this inverse kinematic system. Right now we've got 1, 2, I think, maybe just 1. First off, let's get this rotation correct. So it's a bit wonky, but that's what you get this pole angle option for. So you can rotate this around until you see, oh, it's looking pretty good if we go -90. So there we go. So we got to kind of position in the right spot. All right, now chain length. I think 1 is all we need for this because we're going up 1 length. We'll see in a second. Now it's still looking weird because it's down, but that's because of the position of this controller bone that we have. So we just zero out the oh, there we go. We just go into the bone control tab and let's just zero out the Z. Actually, oh, that's right. I need to fix that in edit mode. So with this foot kind of pointing down real quick, this is happening most because you can see if I bring it up a bit, it's now looking more normal, like he's in the right spot. Okay. But in order to get that to work properly, we need to actually go over into edit mode and just take this bone and we can just zero out on the Z. Never mind. What did we do a second ago? The Y? Yeah, I think it's on the Y. So in edit mode, we can just line up this bone with the bottom of this joint here. And then if we head back over into pose mode now, this guy, if we zero out his position, location, rotation, and you can see now it matches. And because it's on the right, like right on the joint, the bowl of that joint now, this rest position is restored. So what has that done for us? Well, now we're in pose mode. We can select this controller bone and we can move it around. You can see we're not getting any motion beyond this first leg. So that's where we need to increase the chain length. So right now, chain length's 1, we're going to switch it to 2. And now you can start to see the magic of having a rig. So grab that foot. And what's also cool is if I grab this right now, so nothing's happening, right? Because it's not parented properly. But if I click this bone and then actually go back to edit mode, click this bone, then click this bone and hit Control P to parent. Now this time I don't want to connect it, so I don't want the bones to be joined. I actually want them to be separate, but I want them to be parented in the hierarchy this way. So I'm going to keep the offset. I'll keep this offset. Now if I go into pose mode and grab this top bone, you can see now I can move the body of my robot and the inverse kinematics is going to work appropriately. So that is super cool. So we can do all kinds of neat stuff now with this. And don't worry about pose mode. Like if you're in pose mode, make him jump. And you get like a really crazy pose going on. You're like, it's not quite what I want. You can always reset the pose. So if you just hit F3 and go to, what is it? Pose reset. How do you relax pose, push it, reset, unkeyed, I guess? Yeah. So if you get a weird position, you can always just type in, just go into F3 and type in reset. You get this reset unkeyed, and that'll just reset the pose back to the base pose. And that's the beauty of pose mode, is you've got all this freedom to move around and create a lot of animation. You can always go back to your base pose. Now this pole, what this is doing for us is, like, if I move this leg up, right, I can grab my pole and it's going to angle the leg. So it's basically, how does that leg need to get angled? All right. So there we go. F3, reset, clean up pose. So when you're doing animation, you're actually going to do your keyframes in pose mode. So you can set a keyframe for this bone, move forward, move that keyframe, and then that's how you're going to get your animation. You're not going to do it in edit mode or object mode. So anyways, there we go. We've rigged up our little guy. Now there's a lot more you can do with rigging. You can create handles, controllers. You can create like splines and parent splines to stuff that we can just grab those and then hide our bones. But I hope today I really helped you understand just the basics of inverse kinematics. Now the challenge for you is to take the other leg and do the same thing. So try and duplicate what we've done here over here and get this thing working so that both legs are behaving properly. And you've got a rig where you've got two legs. So I'll do that as well, and post this project file up on the Patreon for everybody at the $10 level and up. Hope you really enjoyed it and learned a few cool things today. Feel free to throw me questions in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. I don't get back to everybody, but I do try my best to manage all the comments. So I definitely read everything. So if you throw a comment there, I'll see it. And feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. And thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next tutorial. See you later. Bye. All right. Save. I'll finish that rig up. I'll rig the other side before I put this up on Patreon, everybody. So just, keep an eye out for that. Man, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. That was really great. I hope you learned a few things. It's really complex, so go easy on yourself. If you're learning rigging for the first time, take it slow. Watch lots of tutorials, experiment, and don't feel bad if you make mistakes. It's very, very common. So anyways, I got to run. Really, really fun hanging out with everybody. I'll throw some of my C. Bailey film emojis in chat there. Boom. Thanks, guys, for watching. Guys and gals, really, really nice to have everybody here today. Hope you're all doing well. And yeah, like I said, I'm back. So things are quieting down again for me with work. It's going back to like a normal pace, I hope. Fingers crossed. So I'll be showing back up for more fun tutorials on a regular basis. So keep an eye out. Alrighty. And yeah, we got more exciting stuff coming up. I'm planning the next series, the next big series. So keep an eye out for that too. Alrighty. Thanks, everybody.